Well, let's get into the episode. So, I've bashed this series for a while now, and I've kind of hoped for things to improve, but held out hope against hope for a lot of things. But I don't care what anybody says. This is now probably my favorite episode of this season for a couple reasons. We'll get into that right now. So, Saitama takes out who we've been told is the most powerful, or at least the strongest martial artist in this whole tournament, with his butt. And we also get introduced to a handful of other characters, which was actually pretty cool to see. Like, they at least seem fairly engaging as characters, or we at least get to see some of their fighting styles, which was neat. But we're going to get into this right now and talk about just how the episode went, since it is a breakdown, and what I liked about them, since it's a review, because it's called Breakdown and Review. So we see, of course, that the Monster Association is still attacking most of these big cities, and we see the guard dog man, or whatever his name is, he's about to get attacked by Garo, but then a giant octopus thing gets in the way and continues to wreck the city until a group of A heroes show up, get shown up by Flashy Flash, who I like Flashy Flash's name. Like, they have so many redundant character names in this series. I love it. You've got Speed of Sound Sonic, you've got Terrible Tornado, not really. Flashy Flash is funny. Like, the redundancy in certain names is just kind of funny. But either way, Flashy Flash shows up, he blinds the thing, but then it starts writhing around and doing more damage. So then Tatsumaki shows up and just crushes it, and seeing her, like, the face of her just crush the thing, that was great. Like, I love her way that she acts. Like, she's very childish in some regards, and I do like that because it makes for a funny, entertaining fight in most cases. Then we see Child Emperor, which actually seeing his methodology was kind of neat because he threw a robot out first to attack this snake thing, and by attacking the snake thing and getting bitten, the robot was able to create the venom, or create an antidote for the venom that she was outputting, which is kind of a neat way to go about that. And then once he detonated it and she changed into this other similar snake monster, kind of more horrific, we actually get introduced to Pig God, who's another interesting character. So we get introduced to Pig God. He shows up and basically just eats this snake lady, and that was it. The look on Child Emperor's face was pretty fitting for how I felt when I was watching that scene. And then, of course, we also have a My Mask's concert get interrupted by a couple heroes. He says the penalty for interrupting his concert is death, and destroys them. And I do kind of see what Genos was talking about, how he seems very much like a man with a chip on his shoulder, like looking to become better or do something. Like, there's something hanging over his head, and maybe that was just because of the way he was acting, but he definitely gave off that vibe. But I like the way in this episode they showed how the heroes dealt with this catastrophic of a scenario better in some ways than the Boros showing up kind of deal, because we saw a lot of how they dealt with this sort of thing, but they dealt with it in one place, whereas in this case, it's actually a lot more spread out. We have several different cities getting attacked all at the same time, and we see how these heroes come across these monsters and deal with it in their own, each in their own way, with the way Metal Bat handled it, with the way that Metal Knight handled it. We also got to see Drive Knight, which was kind of neat, and his powers are actually kind of neat, like his transformation into different abilities and swords and stuff. It was pretty cool. I'm curious to see more about him and sort of figure out what his deal is, because he basically just looks like a centaur mixed with a transformer. And we also see, which was kind of interesting, Atomic Samurai meeting up with his group. Immediately after we see these monsters talking, the two monsters, who the one I figured out is a she, thank you for letting me know, whoever in the comments, and Orochi, who is the king monster. And he said we can create as many monsters as we want. Cut to the Atomic Samurai meeting up with a bunch of other swordsmen, and apparently there's a monster gene that you can eat that turns you into a monster. At least that's what was implied with this one swordsman who did that, and was saying how he now has superhuman strength. He has the ability and speed to decapitate everybody in a single swing, but somehow Atomic Samurai is more powerful, which is, it's actually kind of cool to see that even with superhuman abilities or monster abilities at this point, the guy who was going after the rest of the group pretty much was not even powerful enough to put a scratch on anybody, including Atomic Samurai. Yeah, and then he goes to leave with the new target for his vendetta being the Monster Association. I could do that takeover again, but I'm not going to because I'm on a time crunch. Let's go. And then interlaced between these monster fights with the heroes, we have Cho's fighting Saitama, which ended about as well as you'd expect. Cho's stood there and gloated about how he's the perfected whatever of his family. He's the best genetic example that they've created yet. He's perfect. He's above all the commoners. And Saitama just, you like talking a lot, just punched him while yawning. I mean, like, it's about what you expected out of the fight, so that's what happened. Saitama also one-punched Sourface, which I felt kind of bad about, just because I forgot that they were going to be facing off against one another and just done. That was, Saitama. Even after that, though, Sourface was actually being a pretty good mentor, which was kind of cool. Like, we see that Saitama even acknowledges, like, he's being a good senpai, he's being a good mentor. But I'm not Chironko, so this is really not that good. So, yeah, we had that fight, we had the Cho's fight. Then we get on to what took up pretty much the rest of the episode, the fight between Suryu and Saitama. Now, it was kind of unclear at the beginning whether or not Suryu knew that Saitama was wearing a wig or not. In fact, at a certain point, it seems like he didn't know that Saitama was wearing a wig. He was just thinking that it was smart for Saitama to protect his head, even though in reality he was holding his wig on, which I said I thought would be something funny or a problem that would be fairly comedic for this episode. And it was hilarious, because the very first sort of warm-up kick that Suryu threw at Saitama almost knocked his wig off, and he just put it back on his head. And I mean, it looked like he was guarding because he was holding his head. It looked like he was nervous when Sourface came into the bathroom, but it was actually just him holding his wig on. So that was pretty funny to see each of these moments of fighting kind of dialed back for Saitama, because he had to focus on keeping his wig on his head. Though it was actually funny to see Saitama get sort of, I don't think he was actually excited. I think he was just kind of expecting the fight to be a little bit better. He does seem to at least get his hopes up for certain fights. Like when he went to fight the Deep Sea King in last season, he thought that he was going to be stronger, and then when he blew a hole in the Deep Sea King, he's like, oh, I thought he'd be stronger, whatever. So I don't know if he felt the same way with Suryu, because he did actually like say, I thought this was going to be a total waste, but then raised his fist and was like, you might be different. He wasn't different. He was the same as the rest of them, but it was interesting to see him get that sort of like shadows on the eyes, like let's do this kind of mentality going on. Granted, we also know that Suryu's main reason for becoming as strong as he did is basically just to have fun with life, and he proceeds with that strength to push Saitama to the edge of the ring, take a bunch of kicks at him that he kept dodging, kick him into the ground, and then face kick him even further into the ground. And of course Saitama just walks it off. He gets up and he's just like, wow, all right, that was something. So Suryu he got strong to just have an easy life and have fun. Saitama got strong because he wanted to be a hero. And this is where their mentalities clash. But before that, it was kind of weird. Now, I don't know what the deal was with Saitama going in for a punch, and he actually jumped back. Like, I don't know what he thought he was going to see with Suryu. Maybe if Suryu was going to kick the wig off his head, maybe that's why he jumped back, because it doesn't feel like it would have been a concern when it comes to, like, a threat. But we very rarely, in fact, we have never seen Saitama see a person do his sort of like intimidation and jump back. Like normally it's the other way around. When we had Saitama facing off against the giant bug monster, he didn't even care. He just blew him away. But the monster, as the monster went to attack, ran away because he like instinctually thought that something was up. So I'm guessing that it was probably because Saitama thought that Suryu was going to kick his wig off. But anyway, after Saitama jumps back, Suryu starts asking him like, what do you do? He's like, I fight monsters. I'm a hero. And this is where Suryu starts spouting off what he believes that Saitama completely disagrees with. He's saying how these heroes always talk about justice and honor and how they're noble and their aspirations are high, but they're never going to save the world. And their thought process, they as heroes are contaminants in his life of trying to just have fun. And this is where Saitama just completely lets Suryu kick him in the side of the head to blow his wig off, and says that Suryu is not the only one doing what he wants. You know, just because you want to have a life of fun doesn't mean other people can't do what they want. Saitama's instance of doing what he wants is becoming a hero. He wants to be a hero for fun and profit. And at this point, he tells Suryu not to get any stronger if he wants to continue to have fun, because if he does become any stronger, he'll probably become like Saitama and just, you know, be bored with everything. No fun fights, no nothing. And on that note, that's where Suryu basically finds himself staring down the barrel of Saitama's fist. Just all the wind from Saitama's punch blew his shirt off, and I made his hair look messy, I guess. And Saitama even dials it back because he doesn't want to end the fight too soon. And this is where the continuing theme of Saitama being so powerful but the world treating him unfairly is what has held him back as a character in general. It's his limitation as a character, which is why his overpowered nature doesn't make him a boring character and doesn't make him just perfect at everything. The world doesn't treat him fairly. Case in point, his wig was blown off, which means he broke the rules of the tournament, and then, of course, everybody wants the fight to continue, but he's disqualified. So there is a perfect opportunity for him to win the fight, taken away from him because he broke the rules. He entered under another person's identity and wore a wig, which was completely against the rules. So yeah, and Snack actually identified him immediately. He's like, what's Saitama doing here? Sourface, of course, thinks that it's still Chironko dealing with a very hard issue of going bald. And, well, he's very quickly reminded that it's probably just identity theft. Anyway, he's disqualified, but Suryu's not done fighting. He breaks the platform in half, kicks it so that it stands upright, pushes Saitama against it, and just wails on him, throws all of his abilities at Saitama as quickly as possible, and Saitama is completely unfazed, just takes it, whatever, you know, he's just, at this point, I figure after what Saitama says after this, I'm pretty sure that he was just standing there with a blank look on his face, observing the fight, observing, you know, what martial arts is, or what he thinks martial arts is. And then he says what he thinks martial arts is, which is a way of moving around really cool. And with this new knowledge that Saitama has, he thinks it'll be cool to take out a monster with a spin kick. He tries to do a little spinny hop thing. Suryu's very not impressed or entertained by this at all. Goes to attack him, and Saitama takes him out with his ass. I know I'm not doing a reaction to this series, but if you could have seen my reaction when I was watching this for the first time, I don't often, like, if you're not actively trying to do a reaction, it takes a lot to rise a reaction out of me unless I'm trying to make a video. I laughed. I laughed so hard when that happened. That was the best possible ending I could have seen. So not only do we have this buildup of how powerful Suryu is and seeing all these abilities, he's taken out because he's never lost, but this time he did, and he is taken out in such a hilarious fashion. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Of course, with that, he pulled Saitama's white belt off and dropped his pants, so that was kind of embarrassing for Saitama, and Saitama has to run, and Suryu has to now deal with the fact that he lost for the very first time, and he lost to a hip check from Saitama. How do you feel now? And that was it. That was the end of the episode. Saitama running away so that he doesn't get arrested. We have Suryu taken out entirely. Monsters are still attacking. And then we get, after the credits, a little bit of Genos realizing that he was defeated and whatever monster attacked him was insanely powerful, more powerful than all the rest. And this was Gotetsu, who I believe they said his dragon, or his threat level was dragon. So he looks pretty powerful. I'm really hoping to see Saitama fight him, but I'm hoping to see Saitama fight a lot of characters, though we have not had that really happen yet. He's been kind of caught up in the tournament. Either way, guys, I genuinely enjoyed this episode. It's getting better, but on the same hand, it kind of went in sort of a chunk of 3 or 4 where it was like a couple good episodes, then a really bad one, and then a couple more good episodes. I'm hoping there's not another bad one. Like, please don't let there be another bad one. JC staff, if you're watching, which you're probably not, because if you do watch, you'll strike this, just please don't make another episode like the Metal Bat versus Garo fight. Like, just keep doing this, and this is passable enough to make me, and probably quite a few other fans in the audience, happy. Just, please, keep this kind of quality or better up, and I think you'll have yourself an okay series on your hands. Anyway, that's my pleading to the animation studio to actually, do their job. But either way, I did really enjoy this episode. I think that it showed perfectly the continuation of the theme of the world being unfair to Saitama, so no matter what he does or how good he is, he's still treated poorly and never advances due to his wrong place, wrong time sort of character writing, design, I don't know. And we get more of a lead into more hero fights, more monster fights, and possibly some strength improvement and another long-standing enemy of Saitama with Suryu. Hopefully that's the case. I don't know. I haven't read the manga past this point now. I'm actually going to read this episode's equivalent in the manga so that I know what I may or may not have missed. I should actually probably tie those together at some point. But yeah, anyway, let me know if you guys think I should tie those together, if I'm reading the manga and watching the same episode together, so I can do a direct comparison. Let me know. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out merch. I'm not wearing merch. I'm wearing a Stealth Mickey shirt. But make sure to check out the links in the description. And apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Make sure to be there and have a good one.